warrior's mindset is more about that peaceful power. It's the ability to be resilient, stand up, show up, speak up when you need to, when fear is there, when challenge is there, when doubt is there, when times are hard, being able to step up, speak up, stand up. But it's also being able to be true to yourself in the everyday, right?
Awesome. Well, welcome, Harriet. Thank you so much for joining the Daring Well podcast. So glad to have you. Hey, from across the pond. So glad to have you join the podcast to share more about warrior's mindset, to share more about just having a mindset to overcome fear and doubt. And so I'm so excited. This is going to be a great message, not only just for women, but also for the guys out there that listen in as well. So I hope you all take away some different tidbits of how to live well and dare well in how you live, how you show up, and how you speak. And so again, welcome, Harriet. Thank you so much for joining. Please give us a brief bio before we jump into the talk today. So give us a brief bio of what you do and how you do, what inspired you to start what you do.
I could take up the whole podcast listing those things. So just very quickly, I want to say, hey, thank you so much for having me on this Daring Well epic podcast, Rita. And of course, to all the listeners, women, men, everybody out there, it's nice to be in this space with you all today. As Rita said, my name is Harriet. I'm an international speaker, mentor, and firewalk guide. If you don't find me on stages, in events, in the online world, supporting entrepreneurs to both speak and sell with aligned confidence, you'll find me out in nature, hanging out with my dogs, or maybe in the fridge looking for some cheese. A little bit about me.
I love it. Awesome. Well, let's jump right on in. So you teach about the importance of storytelling when you think about being a speaker and being a mindset guru. So what do you think, or why do you think the stories that we tell ourselves, why do you think that happens? Why do we make up these stories that we tell ourselves?
Sure. And very quickly for the listeners to make that link as well. Absolutely. My expertise and my priority, my main focus within the work, mission, business that I do is training speakers. But the first pillar of public speaking is warrior's mindset. How do you communicate with yourself? Before we even think about communicating in our everyday lives, and in particular from live and virtual stages, how are we speaking to ourselves? So just to give that connection there of being a speaker trainer, but leaning so hard and passionately into this topic, the stories that we tell ourselves directly influence how we show up every single day. Just to chuck in a name, I think a lot of people will have heard of Joe Dispenza. Joe Dispenza does some incredible research and has so much evidence to demonstrate that by the time we are 35, so I'm past that now, some of the listeners might be too, so this could come as a shock and surprise, but it's a powerful piece of information. By the age of 35, 95% of our thoughts have become automatic. There is just a program running in your mind. And just think about that, zoom out of your life for a second and just think of how much you do, your morning routines, the way you leave the house, the way you drive to work, everything you do, think how much of it you just do because it's what you've always done. You just think it because that's the way that you think about it. But everything starts from your thought, from how you speak to yourself. So for me, the stories that we tell ourselves, the way in which we speak to ourselves inside of our mind is the foundation of everything that we do. Yes, our thoughts create our feelings. Our thoughts and our feelings determine the action, what we do every single day.
Or what we don't do.
Or what we don't do, absolutely. And of course, that determines the results that we do or don't get. So I believe it's hugely important. And having noticed and become aware of it in my life, it's made some huge shifts. So love that question, Rita.
Sweet. And so how can we, so I guess let's dive into that warrior's mindset just a little bit. So explain what that warrior's mindset is and how does that apply to the everyday person?
Absolutely. And I'd love to just ask very quickly for you, what is your perception of a warrior? Like, what would that mean to you, a warrior's mindset?
Well, for me, I personally have been fighting my whole life, fighting from poverty, fighting from trauma, like just going through really tough things. And so for me, warrior's mindset is like never give up, having resilience.
Mic drop. Let's just leave it there. No, I love that, and I honor. I hope there is a podcast episode where you share, your stories and experiences as well. But essentially, it's such a big part of that. But for me, it goes even deeper. So we always think of a warrior as fighting. Now, don't get me wrong. Of course, within history, within tribes, warriors have absolutely been on the battlefield. So I understand that connection. But for me, and as you've said, it's also about fighting in your life. But even more than that, for me, it becomes standing up for. Again, I talk about the power of your self-talk and the language that you use. For me, fighting has a very different energy to standing for. So for me, the warrior's mindset is about really deeply connecting with your inner power. You said those words: strength, resilience, power. But it's bringing that to your everyday life. Yes. So it's not about showing up in every second like, I'm a warrior. Let's go to battle in every single moment. It's
Yeah, some days it ain't like that.
exactly. And some days it's not going to be like that, right? Because we're human. We're going to feel all the different emotions. So for me, the warrior's mindset is more about that peaceful power. It's the ability to be resilient, stand up, show up, speak up when you need to, when fear is there, when challenge is there, when doubt is there, when times are hard, being able to step up, speak up, stand up. But it's also being able to be true to yourself in the everyday, right? You were sharing earlier about how important self-care is to you. There's days where we're not about being armored up and going out at 100% with our fire burning and being immensely motivated, empowered. We're tired, we're exhausted, we're sad, we're frustrated, we're feeling whatever it might be, but we're just not at our best. For me, the warrior side also comes into loving and nurturing and protecting yourself in those moments too, lovingly accepting the natural ups and downs of life, but
Yeah.
being a warrior for yourself and still being able to navigate the calm, constant within those ups and downs.
Oh my gosh, Harry, that is so powerful. That's so powerful. When you think about like fear and self-doubt, like how do you overcome that with a warrior's mindset? So for people that like doubt themselves, even though they protrude confidence on the outside, but in the inside, they're really struggling with a lot of self-doubt. They're really struggling with a lot of fear. And so how do people rise up to that? Is that about just creating awareness? Like what are the tools that they need to get to that spot?
I think, especially with the context that you shared there, because of course there's a lot of people that feel that, and they show up in that way. You can kind of see the doubt and the insecurity, but there's a lot of people, I would imagine more so, and I was definitely that person that would kind of show up with a mask, right? I'd present myself of how I thought I should be every day, but inside my mind, it was just constant doubt, questioning myself. I was actually nasty, like really horrible to myself in so many different environments. So I can really understand that. And I think, again, you said a powerful word there. First of all, you need that awareness. Unless you notice how you feel and what's showing up for you, but even more than that, that you're able to influence what is showing up for you, rather than just run the story of, oh my goodness, I can't do that. This is scary. Run. Just being able to pause in that moment and choose your response. Viktor Frankl said, we cannot always control what happens to us, but we can always choose our response. So for me, the warrior's mindset in overcoming, or I prefer moving through or dancing with, putting it in the back seat with fear and self-doubt and anxiety, is how can you bring awareness and start again shifting that self-talk. And I know that's repetitive, but it's the core of where it begins, the awareness, and then speaking to yourself in a way that serves you, in a way that supports you, in a way that brings, even if it's just a little bit of empowerment to act with courage in that moment. Because for me, it's never about getting rid of fear or not feeling fear. It's always going to be that it's always going to be there. We're having a human experience, but it's about diminishing the amount of times it shows up. And it's about not letting it influence you when it does show up.
That's good. That's good. And so leaning into it is what I'm hearing. Leaning
Yeah,
into
just
the
really,
fear,
really like
acknowledging it.
allowing that to just be part of you being human. You know, I often say with public speaking, because that's such a big fear for many people, it shows that you care. It shows that you want to do something
Mm,
well to the audience that you're speaking in front of. So again, and of course, there's different environments where it's not necessarily about showing that you care. It's just about being in a different environment. You know, if we think about driving, like, think about the first time you got into a car. I apologize if you don't drive. Think about another common skill. But for a lot of people, you drive, and that first time you did a lesson, yeah, how did we all feel? Like mirrors,
gripping
levers,
hard.
gear stick. Like it was overwhelming. It was scary. You doubted yourself. You questioned if you'd be able to drive. You freaked out about certain things. But what happened? Because driving is just something that everybody does and it's so useful in our everyday life, you kept doing it. You kept taking the lessons. You kept getting in that car in spite of fear, in spite of doubt. You didn't overcome it. You didn't move past it. You got in that car anyway because you had a connection to the outcome of being able to drive. Yes. And now, for most people, what happens when you drive? You get to the location and think,
How did I
"Oh,
get here?
yeah, I've just been thinking about my dinner or my shopping or whatever it is, the date I had last night." But you're thinking about something else. Why? Because it is simply a repetitive skill that you've done over and over again. So again, with most things in life, public speaking, going for an interview, having a difficult conversation, starting something new and building a business, it's not about not feeling the fear. It's about feeling that fear, but choosing what you're going to do anyway, choosing to take that first step, that 10th step, that 20th step, whatever it might be. I love the claps that are going on for anyone that can't see, but it's true, right? So again, just to go back to that driving exercise, it's not about not feeling the fear. It's about feeling it, but choosing how you're going to show up in spite of that fear.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Absolutely. And I love how you talked about too, just like looking at the lessons, even going back to, like I said, earlier times when we were first driving or first learning a new skill, like it's always going to be hard the first time, maybe the second time, maybe the third time. But you build a muscle, you build confidence as you do it. You don't get confidence before you do it as you're doing it. And so
Exactly.
you get it as you go. And so learning from the lessons that as you look back to, like, how did the previous you encounter that challenge? And so leaning into the warrior's mindset. Yeah, that's powerful.
And it's reminding ourselves, you know, confidence isn't something that it's absolutely a muscle that's built, but it's courage in the moments that gets you
Mm,
acting in spite of fear. I consider myself to be a very confident, peacefully confident, and powerful woman now. It's taken me a long time to get into this space of being so grounded and certain within that. But it doesn't mean that fear and anxiety doesn't show up. And it also doesn't mean there are moments where I'm deeply not confident, right? If you took me to a classroom to learn Russian, or if you put me on a tightrope over a cliff and said you're going to learn it, I am not going to look confident. I am going to freak out. I'm going to be scared. I'm going to question myself. Doubt's going to kick in big time, especially with the tightrope one, you know? So again, it's not about being confident in every area. It's about building the muscle to act in courage so that over time you get confident at the thing. And I don't
yeah.
think I've ever shared it in that way before, but your flow and conversation helped me bring it out that way. So thank you, Rita.
Yeah, that was deep. Yeah, act in courage. Yeah, that's powerful. That's powerful. So how does that translate when we think about influence and wanting to make an impact? And so maybe in your circle, you want to make an impact in your family. So maybe you're wanting to be the best mom. Maybe you want to make an impact in your community. Maybe you want to make an impact in the business world. Like, speak to that. How do you make an impact? How do you use your influence when you think about translating confidence and acting in courage?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of different answers I could give to that, and especially it's a big, I love it. It's a great question, but it's a big question. How do you make that impact and influence? And I think the details and the more, say, strategical or technical tips or practical things that you can do every single day would I would vary what I said based on who I was speaking to, what industry they were in, where they were at in their journey, etc. But for me, I think the foundation of bringing impact and influence in any area is embodying it, is being
Mm,
it yourself, is being brave enough to do everything for you that you wish to either help or support others with, or you pray that they become or have in their life. And, one of the things I admired and respected so much about you before we started this podcast, we had a conversation about podcasting, about social media platforms, and you shared very certainly confidently and with congruence what you do and what you don't do based on your time and your self-care routines. But you also shared the time you put into this podcast and why you would like there to be a resource available for everybody, no matter what time of day it is, to still have support. So it shows your impact, your love, your care, your influence. But the first part of that conversation showed that you pour into you first. So your ability to show up the way you do for other people is because you pour into you. And you mentioned different areas of creating impact and influence. If you want to create impact as a mom, as a friend, as a sister, as a teammate, as a coach, from the stage, wherever it might be, do you, and I'm genuinely asking you, Rita, but also for your listeners, do you think that if you pour into you, if you give yourself love, if you give yourself care, if you give yourself space and time, and that's going to vary for everyone, right? If you've got 3 young kids, you're going to be taking more pockets of time. If you've got loads of businesses, so again, it's going to vary for all of us. But what I don't accept from anyone is when they say I have no time. No, no, no. We all have the same time. It's just how you choose to use your time. So again, I come back to the question, do you think that if you poured more into you, yes? So if you're not feeling great, you bring yourself back to feeling okay, if not more than okay, if not empowered to go into your day. If you give time to do things that you love, that put yourself into a great state, do you think you're going to come back to your family, your husband, your wife? You're going to love on them more. You're going to have more time, more patience with your children because you're calmer and you're showing up in a better way. You're going to be a better example for your children because of how you're showing up. You're going to make better connections, build better business relationships, etc., etc., etc. The list goes on, and I'm taking a while to answer this question now. But in essence, I believe if you truly want to make impact or influence in any of those areas, it starts with you. The more you give to you, the more you are able to give to others, not from a place of burnout or exhaustion, but from a place of fueled, loving energy. And I'm super curious to hear what you think about this as well, Rita.
Dude, that is so powerful. That is so powerful. You're just dropping some cool nuggets. But yeah, I totally agree with what you said. And so for me, what I believe and what I do, I practice what I preach. But also I definitely share with my clients and my family and my friends, like everybody, because I wholeheartedly believe that we can't pour from an empty cup. Like we've heard that saying for so long, but you can't give what you don't have. Like it's a true thing. You can't give love if you haven't learned how to truly love yourself. You can't give joy if you don't know how to really embrace joy yourself. You can't give um healthy boundaries to others if you don't know how to have healthy boundaries for yourself and your time and your energy and managing that. So yeah. Yeah, it all starts with you. And so I love that you share that. That's so powerful. So
I
powerful.
totally agree.
Yeah, sweet. So as we start to wrap up, what are some either steps or things that people can lean in to get started with having a warrior's mindset, of embodying a warrior's mindset? What are some practical things that they can do?
I'll give some more practical things in a moment, but to kind of give a summary to the conversations and the tips that we've shared during this, I would say just remember B.A.F, B.A.F. Write it down now, pull over in your car, type it
I'm
in.
writing it down.
But it's just something so simple, B.A.F. It's actually something that I have tattooed on my body, but that's another story from another day. B.A.F, breath, awareness, focus. Every single day. Yes, this is not just about having a morning routine and sitting there and saying good things to yourself and then walking up and being mean to yourself for the rest of the day. This is about consciously being aware of how you show up in each and every day. If you want to build your mindset, if you want to build your confidence, if you want to feel more inner peace, more fulfilled, this is a tool that is with you every single day, and it takes every single day to be conscious of your growth and your expansion. You know, it's not a wave the magic wand and you change overnight. Expansion, growth, happiness, fulfillment is ongoing. But B.A.F is a tool that is with you in every single day, in every single moment, right? You can use it whenever fear, doubt, questioning, wonder, anxiety shows up. Just take a breath, a long, deep breath. I'm sure many of you have heard of the power of breath work. 1, 2, 3, long, deep breaths. Calm your parasympathetic nervous system, instantly calming your mind, instantly calming your heart. So you've taken care of the physical side, yes? Long, deep breath. Awareness. How am I speaking to myself? Am I saying, I don't think I can do this. This isn't for me. I wish I could be like them. I wish I had more confidence. I can't get up today. Like, is your self-talk disempowering you and sending you into a negative spiral? Or are you speaking to yourself in a way that helps? So breath, awareness, and then focus. Choose your story. Choose how you are speaking to yourself. Choose your response to the situation. And that doesn't mean putting a mask on and faking it. It means allowing yourself to experience all of the emotions as a human, but choosing to be a warrior as you move forwards. So I think that's my kind of main, like, B.A.F, just take away, short, easy to remember, very useful throughout your day. And lastly, it's going to be different for everybody, but find what works for you. You know, some people talk about a 5 a.m. morning routine. Some people say they don't get up until 9. Some people meditate, visualize, journal, get out in nature, stand in the sunshine, use an infrared mask, right? Have a bath. There's so many different things. So I'm not here to tell you what to do, because the information is out there. You've probably heard this. But for me, I'm here to remind you that growth is ongoing. Emotions are temporary.
Amen.
So how do we allow ourselves to let the ups and downs, but have tools, whatever that looks like for you, but tools that you enjoy doing and make a difference for you, that you use pretty much every day, that bring more of a calm constant. And as I did that, for those of you that are on the video, you can see that's another little tip: having post-it notes around your house with beautiful messages on them, right? There's so many different things we can do. So I'm not here to say what to do. I'm just saying choose what works for you and then do it. That's where the transformation comes, doing the daily practices that support your mindset.
Yeah, that's cool. Thank you for sharing that. So, breath, awareness, focus. And so, just kind of being more mindful, having that conscious awareness, being intentional. Yeah, yeah. And I love that you kept driving home the idea that it's a choice. You have to choose. And so I think some people think when they look at you or they look at me and they think, oh, okay, they have no problems, everyth's good, like they have good days every day. No, it's a choice. Like
Absolutely not.
every freaking day, I have to choose my mindset. I have to choose how I want the day to go. I don't let the day dictate what it's going to be. I get to choose how I decide to show up in every space, every relationship, and it is an absolute choice. And so when you think about your emotions, I love how you talked about that. It's just temporary.
Yeah.
So when we go through hard things, it feels like it's going to be this way forever. And it's so not the truth. So not the truth. And so,
Yeah.
which kind of again encapsulates the warrior's mindset.
Yeah. And it's the same with the other way, but we don't often think or speak into that. It's exactly the same with like extreme joy, surprise, ecstasy, immense happiness, right? And again, I do believe that we can find a calmer, content way of being and living. But those extreme, like anger, sadness, frustration, doubt, and the other side, that's temporary too. And I think we get this delusion in those moments, like, I want it to last forever. I want to feel like that every moment of every day. And trust me, I did that. I still have those delusional moments where I think, yay, everything can be wonderful in every moment. But that's not a human experience. And if it was that,
Right.
when you get married, when you hit the goal, when you whatever it might be, there's so many different things that fill in that gap for everybody, but something that brings you immense joy, you wouldn't feel that amount of joy if you didn't feel all of the other emotions too. So
Mm,
emotions are temporary, they pass. Enjoy them, learn from them, but navigate that calm middle.
yeah, that's beautiful. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Harriet, for sharing your heart, for sharing your words of wisdom, for sharing the warrior's mindset with us. So excited about listeners to take away from that conversation today. So, what are some ways that people can connect with you and to grow deeper?
Sure. I am on most of the different social media. Facebook and Instagram are definitely my most common. I invite you to connect with me there, send me a DM, share an insight that you took from this, or if you've got any questions, then please ask. And for anyone that is perhaps more inclined or more serious about building your confidence, and in particular your speaking too, I also have a free group on Facebook that shares regular tips, resources, and inspiration to support you with that. And I'd love to just say a big thank you to you as well, Rita. This is a wonderful podcast. I'm blessed that I get to speak on a lot of podcasts, but I really feel your heart, your passion, and your care for your listeners and your clients that you work with. So I want to say thank you for your heart and thank you for this amazing podcast.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. You're so sweet. Yeah. So, what is the name of your Facebook group?
Oh, chucked it back to you. It's FemVox Fireside. FemVox Fireside.
Okay. Spell that for me.
FEMMEVOX. So it stands for female voice. It's something that we've just rebranded. So it's FemVox and then Fireside.
Sweet. And then how do people connect with you on social media? What's your tagline? What's your name?
Harriet Bratt. Harriet Bratt on all social media.
Okay, sweet. Awesome. Awesome. So grateful. So grateful. Fireside Walker is what did you call? What is it? Is that what it is?
I love
Fireside?
it. You kind of combine two things I do, the fire walking and the group. Fem Fox Fireside. Just call
Awesome.
it Fem Fox.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Harriet. I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. Wishing you a beautiful day. Keep living, keep loving, and keep daring well. Take care, guys. God bless.
Take care, everybody.